Welcome, everyone. It's fantastic to be with you all today, celebrating International Women's Day. And we're going to celebrate today by having a fantastic conversation with some incredible panelists that are giving us a little bit of their time to discuss topics that matter to all of us.
I was a journalist and writer. My best friend worked at a bank in the city, in the corporate world. And despite the differences of our paths, we were coming up against very similar hurdles, that hurdle namely being racism and sexism. So we had very different forms of discrimination happening, but also very similar ones, sort of, experiencing a glass, or what we refer to as a concrete ceiling, because you can essentially see through a glass ceiling, but at times it felt as though, there was just no career progression.
I think diversity is a way of life, and you can't survive in India unless you're constantly navigating, including folks, ensuring that you're finding the common thread in all the diversity.
Part of the key things is that we don't talk about race enough. No, it has been usually a forbidden topic. No, and those microaggressions. How many times I heard, "Oh, you said that must be a Peruvian thing," at the times, to the point that I let it go because they were so normalized. And it's exactly with discussions like this that it's not just policies. It starts having the discussions, naming the issues, and hopefully reflecting and changing.
When you feel a microaggression, feel free to say it, because it's something that it's definitely unconscious. Nobody is doing it on purpose, I'm sure of that. But if you don't say it, people will continue to do it. So it's also our responsibility when we feel it, say, hey, I didn't like that. It's the only way to stop it.
We all have that responsibility, whatever color of skin we have, gender we have, but of course we need to, those who are closest to that whiteness or to the male-dominated world, we have an extra responsibility to self-educate ourselves.
Today is not just about the representation, but that you have a voice and that people actually care about what you're saying. And that is something that I've been challenging, and that is my way to giving back. And it's finding the magic in each and everyone's voice, regardless gender, age, ethnicity, whatever background. It's just that everybody has something to say. They have a different perspective, and adding up all those perspectives brings so much richness to a conversation that I tend not to give.
The different voices have a place, and they all contribute to a much richer, much more powerful context to do work in. So, I'm very passionate about it myself.
Advertising, content plays a huge role in sometimes echoing society, but often forming society. Whether it's, P&G encouraging families to share the load with women when it comes to the laundry, or in my previous role, previous company in PepsiCo, we had a snack brand which was all about, which really evangelized the progressive Indian family, which is all about, don't leave all the chores to the homemaker, really about equal participation at home. So I think there's a huge role that advertising and content can play, and particularly in our category.
We have a complete woman-owned network from beginning to end. So I'm just so proud of that. Now, the reason why obviously is because I want to obviously help the cause, but there's a bigger thing, which is community. And if you look at statistics, for every dollar that is spent with a woman-owned business, 90 cents of that is reinvested in her family and her community. And if you look at a traditionally male-owned business, that number is 35. And I think that's really it, is that as a business, you do have a responsibility to support the communities you're in.
Many times we don't look inside, no? And we don't hold the mirror to ourselves and assess how do we do in our own organizations. No? So care is not pretending we are perfect. On the contrary, racism and gender inequality exist and is systemic and it's across sectors. No? So none of us are what's the word in English, immune to either racism or gender inequality.
You're blind to privileges that you have, essentially, unless somebody else calls it out. And I think even the way that we discuss privilege at times can be slightly two-dimensional. There are, a myriad of experiences in terms of disability, and there are a myriad of experiences in terms of racism and sexism. And I think what true kind of allyship looks like is not necessarily getting it perfect off the bat, because it's completely understandable to have blind spots to these things.
Men will apply to jobs when they feel 60% that they meet the qualifications of what that job description is. For women to feel confident to apply for that job, they need to feel 100% qualified.
Hindsight is 2020. You always realize that, you know, you were silly when you felt that you couldn't have done something. You were always, and it's definitely a woman-only problem. So I think, you know, just stop second-guessing yourself. Have the right support system around you. You know, if someone's offered you a job, they obviously know that you're good at it. And be yourself. I mean, be authentic and true to yourself.
Fear is a liar. And the reason why you know this is that you are only afraid of something because it's something that could be real for you. I know that if I am afraid of something, it's within my scope and it's real, and it's just a lot of self-talk. I also find I make a lot of effort to surround myself with positive people. My social media feeds are curated only to be positive and empowering. Anything that shows up that isn't just goes.
Everybody's essentially winging it. I think that was one of my biggest takeaways, to be honest. Imposter syndrome is such a fascinating thing because so often the harder you've had to work to get somewhere, the more unlikely it is that you'll thrive in a space and you've got there. You're the person who ends up feeling like you shouldn't be there. When people who essentially like haven't necessarily had to go through the same level of hurdles, they feel like it's their birthright.
By naming and by raising awareness, and both awareness of others, but also self-awareness, I think we could be in a better place now to address and work in partnership to tackle the issues. The partnership between CARE and it's exactly a great example of how private sector and civil society can work together to look inside and help each other to understand maybe things that on our own wouldn't have happened.
The power of conversations. I don't think you need to study complicated books or anything, to come across these insights that are so powerful, so valuable, and really being open to engaging in conversations. There's no fear. Overcoming that fear. I mean, personally, I feel that when I do feel it, I always think to myself, I must be improving some way. This may be taking me somewhere. It's not obvious, but it must be a good thing. It should be at the end of this not such a nice moment, but overcoming it brings something really positive. So I choose to challenge myself in making sure that I continue to work with all of you wonderful people to keep progressing our inclusion and diversity agenda. And really, thank you so very much to all of you for your time this afternoon. It's been really invaluable. Thank you.